Castillón Confidencial, by Albert Castillón. Welcome, how are you, Confidentials? Thank you for staying with us, now that we've passed the halfway point of August. Look, the theater had its effect. We witnessed the great farce, the big stage performance, the whitewash that Morocco wanted to do, and that we warned here was going to happen. A week ago, we told you what Morocco's plan was. The plan of the Moroccan government. To simulate a new invasion, to provoke it themselves, by the way, with hardly any Moroccans, and to stop it in time, to give the world the impression that they are a civilized country trying to stop illegal invaders. Basically, the complete opposite of what they really are. That's how we reported it 7 days ago. It's too obvious. The information we are getting from Spanish intelligence is that this is a setup orchestrated by the Moroccan government. Don't be fooled. If on July 30th, nearly 100,000 people were able to enter Ceuta, it was because in Morocco they opened the doors for them. They showed them the way, and the gendarmes coordinated the operation under orders from the Moroccan government. We've seen countless videos of how they did it. What if now the Moroccan government itself mobilizes people again through social media on the 15th? And then stops it? And acts forcefully, closing fences and using police force against those who try. He will appear to the world as if he was the savior, the one who prevented another invasion, that he is not responsible for anything. And there will be people who buy that story. Sanchez, first of all. Look, the important thing is that the CNI, the National Intelligence Center, sent the report about what I just told you to the government 7 days ago. And they told them that the invasion on the 15th was a farce, provoked by the Moroccan government, so that the Moroccan government could stop it with a bunch of police officers. What has the Spanish government done? Nothing. They took part in the farce, didn't point out the enemy, and became part of the play. We confirm once again that the plans of Mohamed VI, the Moroccan government, and Pedro Sanchez's government go hand in hand. They are united, and they have a common goal. And I'm sorry to say it, but that goal is to destabilize Ceuta, until they managed to make it fall into the hands of Morocco. We showed you here 7 days ago, social media, the maps. They told us they were going to come in through the inland area, not through the beach, and that's exactly what happened. The images confirm it. And how? The Moroccan police had a heavy police deployment waiting for them. Of course, everything was very well recorded, perfectly documented, to say that they are the ones who prevented that invasion. So they can go to Ursula von der Leyen, who believes whatever she wants. And to congratulate the government of Morocco once again, as they did just over 10 days ago, for how well they have prevented the invasion. It's all a farce. They're taking us for fools. Although notice that this time, for this farce, they've used the government of Morocco, Sub-Saharan Africans, and Algerians. There has hardly been a single Moroccan, and that's no coincidence either. It's part of that strategy where those who have nowhere to go, the stateless, those who have been waiting for months near Tarajal Beach, are willing to try anything to cause any incident. Many were shouting, either we live here or we would rather be dead. We would rather die. These desperate people are the ones being manipulated by the Moroccan government, with the help of Pedro Sanchez, to carry out actions like this. The first invasion, which Morocco allowed and instigated with Spain's permission, ended with 100,000 invaders and 150 dead. This one has ended with only 150. 50 injured and detained. But they will keep trying, no doubt about it. They will do it by land, sea, and air. I keep saying they want the desperation of the sub-Saharan and Algerian groups to keep driving entry into Europe through Ceuta. In fact, there are new calls to mobilize for the 26th and the 22nd, and they will continue for months, trying to attack Spain, while Spain and Morocco continue with their roadmap. And Spain, instead of demanding explanations from Morocco, closing borders or expelling their diplomats, is organizing a World Cup with the invader in 2030. It's all nonsense, and on top of that, they're bad-mouthing us from Morocco. Take a look at this Moroccan propaganda video that's circulating on Spanish social media. The tweet says, "How many have managed to get through? 0. But this figure goes unnoticed by the Spanish media, who are used to exaggerating the number of those who get in." Exaggerating, he says. Let's take a look, if you want, at the diving board beach. This image explains it very well. There are 10,000 illegals occupying Ceuta. They've made a life on that beach. You see there, it looks like an image from an African country, right? From deep Africa. It's Spain. It's that beach in Ceuta where no local from Ceuta can go swimming. Huts, fires, they defecate, urinate, eat, sleep, bathe, shower, and above all, provoke. Because they're part of Morocco's strategy to get rid of them, to destabilize day by day, little by little, without pause, the population of Ceuta. Their goal is to create tension. It's to provoke many Spanish families to leave Ceuta. There are already businesses that have closed and others that are about to do so. They open the shutters and see the invader lurking around, trying to get inside their business, stealing whatever they can. Many protect themselves in their homes, where it's also common to find them at the foot of the stairs or looking for an empty apartment. There have been attacks on women, robberies, rapes, fights among them, and home invasions. They cause fear, but it's only for one purpose: to stay there. They don't plan to go back. And there are more than 10,000 of them right now, including those unaccompanied minors that no one has counted yet at this time, which is to gradually replace the population of Ceuta with their own. As soon as they are even minimally settled there, they will bring their families, and many Spaniards will have to leave Ceuta to stop feeling the fear they feel today. This pregnant woman explained it very well.
This is what we have, this shame. Women rape. Women rape.
They take them to the mountains and rape them. Where is the police here?
From Ceuta, we have to be, I'm talking. The women here, we have to be like this.
Scared. We can't.
Even leave the house.
This isn't right.
Esto no. This is unfair.
Where are we living then? Ceuta, here. Get out of here.
It's unfair. It's so unfair that we have to live like this.
It can't be. It can't be.
No. We have to. It's shameful. And here, Ceuta and the country had to rise up because we can't go on like this anymore. I'm pregnant and I'm suffering. I have a child and I'm suffering. And it hurts me to see my city like this. It hurts. We have to stand up. They can't just invade us like this. It's a shame. And I shouldn't have to go out on the street and talk about this. Ceuta has always been a safe city, a wonderful city. We have welcomed everyone and we've always been fine. And it hurts my soul. It tears me apart inside to see my city like this. The girls can't even leave their homes. They can't even go to the beach. The kids, when you go to the marina, there are fights everywhere. The places where we take our kids to play, we can't do anything.
That's right, friends. In Ceuta, there isn't a single minor who goes down to the park anymore. There's no young woman who can go to the beach in a bikini anymore. Helplessness. No one can live a normal life anymore. You can't go out at night and walk back home peacefully through your city. And that's not even taking into account the serious public health problem that's developing. The hospitals are always overcrowded. Don't even ask what it's like now with this invasion. Tuberculosis, scabies, ringworm, all kinds of diseases are out there. Like I said, this is part of a plan. They are led by the government of Morocco with the collaboration of the Spanish government. And the social networks that inside them keep changing. Now, they've lost hundreds of thousands of followers. Partly because many have realized they're fake, that they're bots, that they're being manipulated to go one way or another, to enter here or there. It's the government itself that either lets them through when it's convenient or waits for them with buttons to beat them. Those social networks have also been used to look for scapegoats. In the first invasion, as a cover-up, Morocco arrested more than 150 people in Castillejos, claiming they were the instigators. What does it matter who they catch and what they accuse them of when they were the instigators? We all know what Morocco's intentions are: to take Ceuta and Melilla, which were never Moroccan, and with Sanchez in power, blackmailed over Pegasus, they're going to get it. But what are Sanchez's intentions by letting this happen? According to highly reliable sources, Sanchez also wants to provoke riots in Ceuta. He also intends for a state of extreme tension to occur in Ceuta, just as Morocco wants. Morocco wants to occupy that Spanish territory. Sanchez wants to stay in power and delay or avoid the upcoming elections that are a year away. We told you about it a few weeks ago. If the situation in Ceuta and Melilla gets worse and Sanchez declares a national emergency with constant invasions, one side letting them through and the other repelling them, it would be very easy to avoid calling elections by saying that the country is currently in a state of emergency and that the elections need to be postponed for months, maybe even years. The plans are clear. Sanchez's only goal is to stay in power and make sure no one knows why Morocco has been blackmailing him for the past 5 years. There's more. Welcome. We're investigating.
Yes.
Castillón Confidencial.
By Albert Castillo. And while all this is happening, and we are in a state of national emergency, Pedro Sanchez's family continues their vacation as if nothing had happened. Well, actually, yes, because they think they have the power to be above right and wrong, and they can't stand a journalist taking their picture in a public space. That's all we needed, right? Watch the scene Sanchez's mother created, Magdalena Pérez Castellón, and one of her daughters, Ainhoa. There, Ainhoa is the oldest. She's the psychologist, the one who got her degree in Bristol recently. They are living a luxury hotel in Lanzarote, not far from La Mareta. A colleague from OK Diario, Cira Lobato, records them with a mobile phone. They're aware of the recording, and this is their reaction. Pay close attention. Bodyguards, by the way, everywhere. It's very curious how Pedro Sanchez's mother records the journalist as if saying, later I'll tell Marlaska to go after you, or Maria Jesus Montero to have the tax office investigate you. We'll use some kind of blackmail so you don't show the footage, right? The best part is this moment when the daughter confronts the journalist. You heard that right. Don't you think, says Sanchez's daughter to the journalist, don't you think your job is a bit pathetic? Pathetic? Penoso? Being a journalist? Look, Juan Carlos Meneses is a regular on the show. He saw this image And I think there's no better person than him to send a message to this rude girl. Rude.
I'm Juan Carlos from Tenerife. This is a message directly for Ainhoa, daughter of Pedro Sanchez, who called or said that the work of a journalist from OK Diario was pathetic. And do you know what's pathetic, Ainhoa? What's pathetic is that you are the daughter of a pimp and the granddaughter of a pimp. What's pathetic is that you tell a worker that with her taxes, she's paying for the vacations that you, a bunch of freeloaders, which is what the Sanchez family is, a bunch of freeloaders, are enjoying in La Mareta. On Lanzarote, the stench has gotten so bad since you arrived that it now reaches Tenerife. What's really pathetic is that all Spaniards, including that girl who is just doing her job, with our taxes, we have to pay for their vacations, their Coca-Cola, their whiskey. Your grandfathers, your grandmothers, your fathers, your mothers, yours, and all the cronies you slip in through the back door. Besides the army of bodyguards your father uses, which is bigger than the number of personnel, for example, at the breakwater in Ceuta to protect the southern border of Spain and Europe,
They are an elite. They want to keep being a privileged, untouchable elite. Paid for by everyone, protected by police officers and civil guard officers, paid with public money, who have to put up with them. They are like the nouveau rich, like someone who has never seen luxury and dives into it up to their neck and doesn't want to stop enjoying it because they know it will end. They know their days are numbered, that they have very little time left to enjoy so many legal advantages. They know how much they enjoy it. And that when Sanchez's time is over, none of them will be able to set foot on Spanish soil, nor continue living here after the immense damage they have done to this country. I have a guest coming up in a minute. Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón.
Sin Deuda Group, your second chance.
Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón. It's been a difficult few days with earthquakes, and I'm not talking about the one in Granada, which was certainly a scare, but that's all it was, just a scare, nothing more. I'm talking about the one in Colombia, after the one in Venezuela. The fact that De la Espriella, the new president of Colombia, is sworn in on a Friday and the earthquake happens the following Monday, first thing in the morning, has sparked all kinds of conspiracy theories. Paranoid ideas, like the ones Bernabé mentions.
I had already mentioned that the earthquakes in Venezuela could be engineered with scalar weapons. And well, I know it might seem a bit absurd, but don't you think it's too much of a coincidence that now that De la Espriella has just taken power, there are such terrible earthquakes in Colombia?
Let's see, the question is relevant. Can humans cause an earthquake? The scientific answer is yes, but not in the way they're asking us to explain it. Let me tell you. Mining activities, injecting gas into the ground, all of that can cause seismic movements. And we had an example in Tarragona, off the coast of Tarragona, the Castor project. You're seeing images. They wanted to inject gas, and they did it in an old underwater oil field. They invested 1.2 billion to do that. What happened? Well, that gas pocket, stored there as a reserve, almost 2,000 meters deep, started causing seismic movements along the entire coast of Tarragona, more and more each time. Up to 500,000 seismic movements of different magnitudes, the largest reaching 4 on the Richter scale. From that point on, and we're talking about the year 2012, that gas pocket was dismantled and the seismic movements in Tarragona stopped. The earthquake in Colombia, which has once again exceeded 7.4 degrees, happened, they tell us, in an area where earthquakes are common. But there is a friend of ours and a contributor to this show about whom you have asked me many times how she is doing, because she spends a good part of her life in Colombia. Pilar Almagro, dear, how are you?
Hello, Albert. Hello, Confidenciales. I'm doing very well.
What happened? What did you notice?
Well, look, I was about to leave the house because it was a little after 7. And yes, it really did last a while and everything moved. Well, for example, on the wooden part, it came off the wall. So yes.
See, I have to say that we were talking about a depth of more than 100 kilometers, which is what they told me. Can you tell the difference between a human-caused earthquake and a natural one by the depth where the quake originates? How long did the one in Colombia last?
Today, well, I can't tell you exactly, but it lasted a long time. I mean, a lot. I've experienced another one. Well, it lasted, I think, almost a minute. I've experienced another one. In Chile, it was an 8.2. This one was a 7.4. And also on the 30th floor, and a book fell down. That's all. A few things have broken here because Chile is the most seismic country in the world and is well prepared. All buildings meet requirements and there's no corruption in construction.
How wonderful. How wonderful. Well, the truth is that as of today, we are talking about nearly 300 dead, right, in Colombia.
Yes. There's a service called UNGRE that every morning at 6:30 gives an update because this is still changing. I mean, it hasn't ended yet. So we're talking about 289 dead, 3,937 injured as of today, and 143 missing. And as you said, it could have been worse because this one was deep. It's just that in Colombia, we have three plates, Nazca, South American, and Caribbean. So the earthquake involved the Nazca plate, and it was due to subduction, meaning it was deep. The plate went underneath another one.
I understand. There's a belt, they call it the seismic network, the Ring of Fire, that's right there in Colombia. This type of earthquake is very common there, but that belt also affects Venezuela. I mention it because in the last 6 months, you've given me data about earthquakes that exceed a magnitude of 7 on the Richter scale. And there have been many in just 6 months, right?
Yes, but we are still within normal limits. In a normal year, there are about 15 earthquakes over 7. We've had 10 so far. So we are within normal parameters. And there are all kinds, because on Earth we have 15 main plates and then hundreds of subplates. And there are all kinds. Some go under the others. Others slide past each other. The one in Venezuela, for example, that one was a sliding one. And it was only 2 kilometers deep. It was a lateral slip, and since the center was 10 kilometers deep, and not at 100, of course, it was much more serious, even though it was only a 7. And actually, there were 2 of them. There was one at 7.5 and another at 7.2. Here, it was in between, at 7.4. But of course, there have been 6,301 victims there.
That's a lot. And there will be even more, because they keep finding them even today. The fact that the La Espriella took office and 48 hours later this earthquake happened, that has caused a lot of speculation. Gustavo Petro himself, the one whose candidate lost the election in the end, says that Colombia hasn't accepted help from other countries because of the La Espriella. For example, from Spain. It's true.
Well, Petro immediately came out saying that there was an ideological filter in the aid that was being accepted, to begin with. Colombia has an elite team, more than 1,000 people and dogs trained for this. And in fact, with a strong experience from the Venezuela earthquake, they were there from the very first moment. That's to begin with. Then here, since it's an elite team, is part of INSARAC, which is an advisory group of the UN, it only accepts teams that have the same standard, which makes sense, right? To avoid a Tower of Babel situation, as they say, disorganized help isn't really help. So from the very beginning, they did accept Ecuador, the United States, Israel, and El Salvador. Third thing, when the earthquake happened, the person in charge of Lungrid was still Petro's appointee, not the La Espriellas. I mean, the La Espriella took office on a Friday afternoon, and this happened on Monday. So in between, There weren't even any working days. It was 2 non-working days. That is, it was Javier Pava. Javier Pava. I mean, when Petro says there's a hydrological filter, it must be his own, because the other one isn't there yet. And the new one is David Tamayo. On the 12th, that is Wednesday, this had happened on Monday, De la Espriella replaced him and put in his own man, David Tamayo. And he literally says, Tamayo is coming to clean up that nest of bandits. So, well, in the end, yes, he accepted all kind of help. Not from rescue groups, but financial help, yes. For example, Spain gave 1 million euros, the European Union gave 700,000, and the United States gave 15.5. I'm referring to those that don't need repayment. There were also loans, which must be repaid. Well, even China, and they also accepted aid, material aid. For example, Chile sent them 10 tons. China also sent something. So the filter was only for rescue teams. And for the reasons we've mentioned, he wanted the same standard because there are more than 1,000 highly trained people here.
Hey, are you telling me that the European Union has only given 700,000 euros to Colombia? That's what they spend on appetizers in the European Parliament in a month.
Yes.
What nerve?
Yes, that's what it gave. Anyway, look, as far as I know, Spain gives the most to Colombia and then to Morocco, in that order. In general, apart from the million that was given.
That was happening until now. Now that Gustavo Petro is no longer around, we'll see, because Morocco will keep getting it, right? Here it's more complicated. Have there been any more aftershocks there in Colombia or not?
Yes, there have been, but they are very small and personally I haven't noticed them. What De la Espriella has done is use this as an opportunity to go to Chocó. Chocó is the poorest area in Colombia, but it also has huge potential, for example, for tourism, because it borders both the Pacific and the Atlantic, that whole area. So that's been the most affected area, but there have only been, I say only in quotes, 13 deaths, because they're small houses, little homes. So De la Espriella was there on day 1. What's going on? He was there, and on day 4, he was there again, and he wants to make a plan, a Marshall Plan. I mean, De la Espriella is seizing the opportunity. We'll see if he does what he says, hopefully. But one of the things he wants to do is decentralize the country. Everything is here in Bogota. So it can be like that. One of the regions that has always fought against this, because it can't be that way, is Medellin, which they used to call the Catalonia of Colombia, right?
Medellin is wonderful, is beautiful.
And for example, it has many hospitals where Americans go to get their cosmetic surgeries done there. They are world class. And so they have both hotel and hospital. So people go there to get a little touch up and stay in a 5-star hotel. And it's also the biggest flower exporter to the United States. So it's a beautiful city. So what De la Espriella wants to do is decentralize the country and reduce the government by 40%. And he's going to start with Chocó, precisely because of the earthquake.
I'm glad. Starting from scratch, now that there are only ruins in many places, right? Well, I'm glad you're okay. The sink needs to be fixed. I know some of your businesses have stopped because of the earthquake. It's inevitable. What's important is what it is. And now it's saving lives and keeping our fingers crossed. Because after Venezuela, Colombia, I'm not going to Indonesia anymore. But I wish the earth would calm down a bit, right? Let it give us a little peace, right, Pilar?
To reach the average, we still have 5 left for the rest of the year.
We have 5 left.
5 remain that are over 7.
Well, I hope it's not where you are. A big hug, dear. Take good care of yourself.
Hugs confidenciales.
Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón.
And we don't forget what date it is today. August 17th, 9 years since the attack on La Rambla in Barcelona and in Cambrils. 16 dead and hundreds injured, some of them young children. There is a tribute this afternoon in Barcelona at the Monument to the Victims of Terrorism. José Vargas, its president, tells us about it.
Hello, Albert. This Monday, August 17th, we will commemorate, as we do every year, the 9th anniversary of the Ramblas and Cambrils attack. As the Association of Victims of Terrorism in Catalonia, it is our duty to always preserve the memory and remembrance of the victims of terrorism. We will hold this event at the monument in the city of Barcelona dedicated to the victims of terrorism. It is located at Meridian Avenue, Fabri Puig, and Janeiro Avenue. We will hold it at 7 in the evening. We hope you can attend and that you will join us in this very personal and intimate event in remembrance of the victims of terrorism. Thank you.
You have our full support, my friend. Gentlemen, there is more.
Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón.
We're waiting for you at Casa del Agua con Gas, Vichy Catalán.
Gentlemen, an event occurred that has rarely been recorded or witnessed in Palma de Mallorca. And the thing is, the king arrived at a regatta in his very expensive car and started to hear people calling him Pedro Sánchez. Take a look.
Spain is being invaded and you're here partying. How do you feel partying here while Spain is being invaded? How do you feel about Ceuta being invaded while you party with Morocco's dictatorial regime? Traitor!
He'll have to start getting used to hearing these things or take the reins of the country. Amalio de Marichalar just told us. Listen, he's one of the greats of Spain with an illustrious surname, undoubtedly a patriot. And he says he believes the king should put his foot down and show up in Ceuta, even if Sánchez doesn't like it. Why doesn't he do it? Why doesn't he take the risk? We have more and more opinions about the king every day, but I think it's important for you to hear them. Let's hear from Meiva, Antonio, Gloria, Ángeles, Pilar, and Virginia.
In my opinion, I think the CNI should be under the command of the head of state. And the head of state should share with the Prime Minister the information he considers appropriate. Surely there are state secrets that the current politician, who is here today and gone tomorrow, doesn't need to know, or even when he's in office.
He could use it for his own benefit.
Yes, from the invasion of Ceuta up to now, this is what the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is going to do, according to the article of the Constitution.
He should do us Spaniards a favor and abdicate or resign or do whatever he wants, but just get the hell out.
And as for his daughters, well, let them learn to read a teleprompter or to clean staircases. We have more dynasties. We could even have a republic, and there's nothing wrong with being Republicans.
Yes, like Marichalade. He keeps his wings clipped. I understand that we have politicians like Vox, like Justice Europe, like National Movement. This new. Let them join with the military. For goodness sake, let them join with the judges. For goodness sake, let them join with us and send the army to Ceuta. And let them put an end to all this, because this is what's going to kill us. It's killing us. This will reach Madrid the day after tomorrow. I live in Madrid, and I don't want that. The only way to stop it is there, in Ceuta, and that's it.
Uige Óscar López se viste gay crigo ciciara a Ceuta quan els zor no tometos corialtir quan decisades. This is a situation that benefits the Socialist Party by undermining the crown, so that Spanish monarchists become disaffected with the institution, and to pave the way for the arrival of the Third Republic. Everything has been planned. Inaction leads to the discrediting of institutions. I believe that the monarchy has a role, which is to defend the constitution. But I see that the current king is not fulfilling that role. He will go down in history as Felipe VI the Submissive.
It's not true that the king can travel to Ceuta without the Prime Minister's permission.
He can go wherever he wants within Spanish territory. What he can do is hold an official event without coordinating it with the Prime Minister. But he can absolutely make a private trip. Or if he wants to go skiing, does he need permission? He can go if he wants. If he doesn't, it's his choice. He could easily make a private trip to visit Ceuta's people. He's a chicken, a traitor, a scoundrel, and a coward.
I see our king, relaxed, smiling. He doesn't wield much authority, but he inspires even less. And what I think is that in time, there will only be one king here. Being at odds with Morocco, there can only be one king, and that king will be Hassan. I would tell King Felipe to be a little more serious. But the worst part isn't that there's only one king. His daughter, next in line for the Spanish throne, will become the concubine. That's how I see the future. As for the other women, well, with a veil.
Virginia, I hope it's not true. She is referring to Hassan III, the son of Mohammed VI, who is said to be ascending to the throne very soon. And Pilar, my dear Pilar, they are also forbidding him from making the private trip. Here, Fernando San Agustin told us that the king asked Sanchez, "Okay, I won't go, but let my daughters, the Infanta and the princess, go to Ceuta and spend 10 days there on vacation." And they forbade it. That's the reality. What should he do, as he just told Amalio Marichalar? Slam his fist on the table and show up in Ceuta. Let whoever wants to get angry, let Mohammed get mad. Let Sanchez rend his garments. I don't care. That's what the king should do, and he's already taking too long. Yeah, well, he's been overdue for decades, because he's never set foot in Ceuta or Melilla. Not as a prince, not as a king. It's about time, right? It's about time. Or is he going to visit when it belongs to Morocco, or when it's under joint sovereignty with Morocco? Will he do it like that, hand in hand with Mohammed VI, the two of them strolling through Ceuta? Please. It's unbelievable. Well, look, here in Spain, the dictator's vacation continues. Although we are investigating something, stay tuned this week. Because it seems suspicious to us. So many days of vacation, not just a month. There is no other European leader who has taken so many. Well, the thing is that he's not at La Mareta, or he's not always at La Mareta. I'll tell you more tomorrow and in the coming days. Keep in mind what kind of dictator Sanchez is, which palace he's in, how many bodyguards he has. Man, the detail about the Zodiac, which I think matters most. The photo of the summer, this daily Facebook image of the tyrant going diving and being unable to pay for one. A private boat. He takes a civil guard boat, puts a sticker on it so you can see it's from the civil guard, and he even uses the civil guard's boat for his own private enjoyment. Of course, covering up the name so the civil guard won't end up arresting him. And he knows it. This is a symbol, but it really shows what the dictator is like. And he's outrageous. I mean, he behaves in ways not even Franco did. Compared to him, Franco was the most modest and humble person to have governed this country in decades, I assure you. Besides, that's how it was, right? According to those who knew him, look, the reason I'm telling you this is because Giorgia Meloni is also on vacation. There you see her in a swimsuit. She spends her summer in a modest country house. She pays for her vacation out of her own pocket. She goes with a very small group of bodyguards, very few. She doesn't surround the beach area where she swims. She doesn't prohibit fishing or people looking. When a curious onlooker recognizes her, she takes a photo with them. She uses regular transportation to the north of the island of Sardinia. She went by ferry, not on the Falcon jet, and together with others who were traveling with her, regular people. Compare Giorgia Meloni's vacation, paid out of her own pocket, with Pedro Sanchez. It's enough to make you start crying and not stop until she's gone. We have the worst of the worst here. They want to dedicate some messages to her. Javier, Amélie, Mabel, and Sixto.
Why not? We ask our compatriots from Lanzarote to stage a green march to La Mareta so she can see how much fun it is.
When you get invaded by 1,000, 2,000, 3,000,
or 4,000 people at once.
I just want to say that I'm convinced that what Pedro Sánchez has done to Ceuta is revenge for what we are doing to his beautiful wife and his brother.
What does he owe Morocco? What we know is that he's so afraid of us finding out what he owes Morocco that he gives everything to Morocco. Well, if he doesn't tell us, if we don't know, but we do know, that should basically be a reason to fire him. Either way, whether he wants to or not, everyone in Spain will go, stand before La Mareta and fight.
Is no one going to be able to deal with Pedro Sánchez, to put it bluntly? Is there really not going to be what it takes to tell him from wherever, from whatever organization, I honestly don't care, you are going to pay for all of them at once? Is no one going to tell him that? Is no one going to be able to tell him, look, you are a tyrant who's going to rot in jail? Because everything you are doing is grounds for jail, real jail time. Endless jail time, I'm asking you, Albert.
Look, for now, it's just 4 crazy journalists who are risking it. Vox is saying it, Albice and some of the opposition, and Ayuso, but not Feijóo. And some judges whom I trust are also saying it, to see him in prison, of course, because he's committing illegal acts, one after another. Look, the most serious thing is going almost 4 years without a budget. And just because there's an eclipse, he spends it on this party to watch the eclipse with his friends, but of course, we are the ones paying for it. This is a scandal. In any country, they'd say, but what are you doing? I mean, you close, when there's a total eclipse, you close an astronomical center, so people can't go, only you and your 300 buddies. And there, Marlaska, Oscar López, Ángel Víctor Torres, Morán, and also they go and hire an indie band that Sánchez really likes. The name says it all. It's called La Habitación Roja. I think he likes it because of the Roja part, you know, well. And he spends almost 100,000 euros on 3 hours of partying. Because he's a dictator, and as a dictator, he wants to celebrate the arrival of the eclipse with his money and mine. Honestly, he's like a lesser Caligula. He's much worse than any president this country has ever had, whether in democracy or in past dictatorships. And in the last Council of Ministers, pay attention, he struck another blow, another turn of the screw, call it whatever you want. I'm saying this because it went largely unnoticed. It's summer, nobody listens. Look, until now, when an investigation into money laundering had to be launched, the Bank of Spain would prepare a report, send it to the UDEF or the UCO, and that report formed the basis of the anti-money laundering investigation into who had allegedly laundered public money. Well, the government now takes on that power. It has taken away from the Bank of Spain and its people the possibility of doing it, and now the government of Spain itself will do it. That is, the anti-money laundering unit will depend on the one who is suspected of money laundering. For example, in Plus Ultra, where the case has only been partly adjudicated, I'm not even talking about the rest of the family, the Koldos, the Sábalo family, and the others. The control of these cases will now be in the hands of the government itself, and they will send a report, or not, to the UDEF and the UCO, or to European authorities to investigate money laundering. Goodbye. Another way to bring money laundering investigations to an end, right when Sánchez, Zapatero, and their closest circle are being investigated. Honestly, it's one blow after another. They are scraping away at what's left of the rule of law, trying to sneak in wherever they can. Well, we're getting all kinds of messages, and I don't want to skip over some of them. For example, Alberto says, how is it possible that you interview Villarejo, who writes in a book with documents and evidence that the 11M attack was committed by Morocco with France, and that no judge opens an investigation about it?
I want to ask here on the channel if the evidence that Villarejo presents in the book he wrote is so solid, wouldn't there be a way for a judge to open an investigation on their own? Because the 11M case is time barred, so a judge can't open an investigation.
My friend, this is what Maria del Coro Cillan tried to do, and she ended up in a psychiatric hospital. This judge, we've talked about her before, tried to reopen the case, tried to point out the culprits, and ended up being driven crazy by everyone around her. I wish it would happen. I think one day we'll see it, but not with this government, not with any PSOE government. As long as they are in power, it's impossible. And then about the unaccompanied minors, I received a video from a friend. They tell me he's very active on TikTok. His name is Ernest. Look, because of course, they say there are 1,000 or a little more. Looking at the image, it's a quick sweep of the unaccompanied minors waiting to enter. They're in Spain and they're in Ceuta. Pedro, Begoña, Diego and Fran talk about them.
I can only understand it from a business point of view. The government raises the extraordinary spending to 30.5 million to accommodate these supposed minors, and then distribute them among the autonomous communities it wants. I think that money could be used to help them return to their families. That is true humanity. If they have entered, they can also be helped to return and find that family unit, the one they will never find in Spain. Spain.
We are dealing with kids, or as they claim, kids who come from other countries. We keep them until they reach adulthood. We don't contact their countries, and that's another thing. If the parents don't show up, don't have any, or just look the other way, it's only fair that the time that child spends in an orphanage should be in their country of origin. Why? Because there they speak their language, have their culture, their religion, their food. So, are we kidnapping minors in Spain? Are we following an absurd law?
I wanted to mention the minors in Ceuta. I don't know how far these guys in the government want to go. Why? What do they want?
Do they want Spaniards gone? How many minors are we supposed to take in? All of them? All from Morocco? Wouldn't it be better to return them to their parents? That's what I think.
You might think these people want to commit genocide against the Spaniards. Do they want us gone or what? Also, how old are these minors? Do they have ID so we know their age?
Because 99% of them aren't even minors. They're not minors, man. Come on, seriously.
Let's see. Who the hell believes that an unaccompanied minor is costing us, Spaniards, over 4,000 euros? This corrupt dictatorial government wants as many unaccompanied minors here as possible. The Moroccan government is now accusing us, Spaniards, of kidnapping their children, claiming many parents are searching for those minors. Do you think that's normal? Why is this Sanchez dictatorship interested in having as many unaccompanied minors come as possible? But in reality, they cram those menas into centers like chickens, stuffing them in there by the handful. How much? Over 4,000 euros per mena. Are they buying them gold Nikes or what?
Come on, man. Some people still believe that.
But my friend, Morocco is lying. Morocco knows perfectly well that they are not kidnapped children. Morocco is fine with sending minors out, letting the Spaniards take care of them. Then they grow up, reach adulthood, and bring their whole family to Spain through family reunification. And when they get older, with all the money they've earned here, often, most of it from public assistance, a good number of them go back to Morocco to retire. So a poor child leaves, and years later, a rich family comes back. Rich with our money, of course, not theirs. Morocco is part of the network that's throwing minors into the water. They don't care much if they die in the street. The point is that we raise their children with our public money. What I'm saying is very cruel. Look, we have confidential sources in Morocco. Not long ago, a woman gave birth in the street because they didn't want to treat her at the hospital. Confidential sources in Morocco sent me the video. I'm not going to give their name for their safety, look.
No, the Mohammed V Provincial Hospital in Al Jadida.
A woman giving birth in front of the hospital, ladies and gentlemen. This needs to reach the Ministry of Health. They didn't treat her well at the hospital, so she decided to go outside and give birth there. This needs to reach the Ministry of Health as soon as possible. There is no strength or power except in God. Look with us. Look at the place where this woman gave birth.
We have dubbed what she said in Arabic using artificial intelligence, but it's exactly what she said. They didn't want to take care of her. She left. She couldn't take it anymore and gave birth in the street. That's the country that's going to host the World Cup. Yes, yes, yes. And we're so dumb that we invite Spain to organize the World Cup with us while they're invading us. Honestly, it's something that needs to be analyzed. Well, knowing there's blackmail involved, everything makes sense, right? It all fits. So there's more in Ceuta. Look at what Anna sent me from the stairways of the buildings in Ceuta. You can see this sign. Be careful. Make sure to close the door properly because immigrants settle here. They're getting into a neighbor's apartment in the building. She had to kick out several immigrants. They're looking for an empty house. This happens in almost every stairway in Ceuta. The fear continues. The terror continues. In the neighborhood of Príncipe, citizen patrols are still protecting underage girls from possible rapists. It's done by ordinary people, not the police, prosecutor's office, or the minister, who is a doctor and a mother, and who I'm now told is going to go. After everything has already happened. Not all the diseases that could have come in are here. They're in Ceuta. Tremendos. Well, more recent images. Carlos sent them to me from Tangier Airport. Take a good look. They're at Tangier Airport in the image. The photos are from August 7th. They are distributing copies of the Quran in English, French, and Spanish. He says this is a strategy. And when you look at it on a large scale, they're already training, right? For what's coming next. I hope not. I really hope not. Well, and speaking of public transportation, Chema, the collapse of train service continues in Spain.
Well, I'm sending you 3 videos so you can see how Renfe is doing. These videos were recorded by a friend of mine who happened to run into my family yesterday while they were in Madrid. Let me tell you, these people had to catch the train at 6:15 p.m. at Madrid Atocha. And supposedly they were supposed to arrive at our town, Campo de Cristana, at around 8:15 or 8:20. What happened? Well, these videos were recorded at 9 at night. I want to emphasize that public transportation just isn't working at all. As I always say, I like to fight. I'm not on vacation, but even if I were on vacation, I would still fight because above all, I'm Spanish and I'm never going to give up. And I'm gonna be by your side and I'm gonna fight by your side because you deserve it. And you make the news very clear for us and you give us very good information.
Chema, I wish you were Chema de Borbón and you were the King of Spain. We would be better protected. They're giving me 1 minute, I have more. Castillón Confidencial, by Albert Castillón.
$593,159,304.91. Completely trustworthy.
Latest messages received. Editorial team. You'll see her looking tanner. Yes, like me. Susana Gas. Tell us. Hello.
We are still here with Albert in the Castillón Confidencial newsroom, as always, receiving messages and opinions from our insiders. That's the case with Juan. He says, the situation Spain is going through right now hurts me deeply. But Spaniards don't deserve this ordeal that the PSOE is causing, and of course, all the left-wing parties. Carmen says the protests should happen all over Spain and that we should all take to the streets every week since they don't pay any attention to us. This government only thinks about vacations. Carmen also says that it should be forbidden for anyone involved in politics to open or run companies, do lobbying, open a radio station or anything like that. Let them focus on politics, which they already do quite badly. Miguel from Sevilla says that we gave the Sahara to Morocco. And does anyone have any doubt about what will happen with Ceuta and Melilla? And on top of that, we give away hundreds of millions in aid, police vehicles, desalination plants. Here, we spare no expense. I didn't know we had so much money. Emilio says that the government is incapable of acting and defending the borders against an invasion. That must be because of everything they owe Morocco. Igel says thank you very much to you, Albert, and to the whole team. It's really appreciated that you're with us all summer. They should be working, not you, but all the politicians who are enjoying vacations paid for by all Spanish citizens. And what I think is that they're not only on vacation now, but they're on vacation all year round. On the other hand, Maria says that politics in Spain is pure corruption and that there is no democracy here, nor anything that resembles it. This has only served to allow unscrupulous people to rob us through taxes and enrich themselves. And on the other hand, and lastly, Albert, Juan tells us, the interview you had with Commissioner Villarejo was magnificent, where he gave those clues about the March 11th Madrid bombings. And the question is, will there be any judge who investigates this situation? And here, hello. Let's leave it there, Albert. It's extremely important that all our insiders follow us on all social networks, of course, to stay very well informed. Thank you very much, Albert.
Thank you very much. And Diego has sent me a conspiracy theory question, which I like from time to time. And besides, it can be interpreted in many ways. But it's true that Nostradamus, he made many prophecies and wrote them down, predicted that there would be an eclipse around August 12, 2026. Any good astrologer can do that much. And calculate across years, decades, and centuries. But the thing is, Nostradamus, as Diego tells me, said that after the eclipse on August 12, 2026, an Arab reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula would follow. You know that Nostradamus didn't write so clearly. He did everything with synonyms, analogies, with words that can have several interpretations. I'll leave it at that. And if any of you have more information, I would appreciate it. Well, and I have to say thank you because during the holidays, many of you keep supporting the show. Antonio Fernandez Navarrete Garcia, thank you very much for your donation. He says, the work you do is magnificent. Thank you, my friend. José Manuel GM, thank you. María de Los Ángeles B says, thank you for a person and for truthful information. Thank you very much. Thank you. And especially to Luis Melquiades RF for his generous donation, who writes me 2 words, and with that, we understand each other. For Spain. How easy it is to feel like a compatriot of someone who loves your country, and how hard it is with all the enemies there are. But with the Spanish ID, they keep sucking the country dry, taking all the juice they can until there's nothing left. Here, we're going to try to avoid that. Well, about the eclipse, Enrique sent me what it could have been like to watch the eclipse with Sánchez, with Bolaños, his secretary, his maid, and even the bird shows up. Take a look. No. Watching the eclipse.
Well, you see, Mortadelo, eclipse fixed. Another crisis solved in no time.
Incredible, almighty sir. You make it look so easy that it even seems like you do absolutely nothing.
All right.
We are in a bad situation in Ceuta, feeling abandoned and scared. We are at our limit and unsure how much longer we can endure. We need the government's help and for them to finally act. Oh, ma'am, you can't imagine how little I care.
Margarita Robles, that's her. You have no idea how little I care about her. Yes. No, I didn't want to overwhelm you with the moment when the good woman from Ceuta confronted Margarita Robles, because they're twisting it around and even talking about what a good woman Margarita Robles is, right? How empathetic she is, that she listens. I mean, she doesn't solve anything. She doesn't help in Valencia during the flood or here, but listening is already a lot, right? And since she listens, it's incredible that we already consider that a success. When she's at our service and we pay her salary and she doesn't do anything she's supposed to do. But anyway, more Ángel Inés, Sánchez father, just like Sánchez.
Being the father of the most progressive and socialist president in history is something very exhausting.
Would young Master Saunas's father like some shrimp?
But they are fresh.
Yes, young Master Nitpicker, father of young Master Finoris. I bought them myself at the market this morning.
But you bring them to me and peel. This is a disaster, Mortadelo.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'll go peel them for you right away.
Damn, you mess everything up. You're a disaster, even when taking care of my parents. You're completely useless. Go peel the shrimp. Damn.
The service is terrible, Pedro. Not even when you pay others do you get good service these days.
And peeling the shrimp for Bolaños, this might happen at La Mareta, because the whole family is there living off the state, and you all are paying for it. Jose Carlos Sanchez on the show, there is a message for you, or something like that, hosted by Jorge Javier Vázquez, who you really have to want to go see that guy. And of course, Begoña Gómez shows up. Take a look.
The suspense. Who could be on the other side of the envelope? Well, Pedrito, now the envelope is going to open, and you'll see someone who wants to tell you something, okay?
Okay, Jorge Javier. We open the envelope. And there's Begoña.
Hello, Pinocchio. P.this. I came on the way here to tell you that I already have a passport, so we can go on vacation to Morocco.
And who is this lady? I don't know her. She doesn't seem familiar. You don't know who she is? Are you sure?
Traffic. Thank you very much. Corruption in business, embezzlement of funds. Misappropriation.
Let the civil guard take me right now, Jorge, if I'm lying. Come with us, come with us.
Please, are they taking him? Of course. Oh, someday we'll see that, and it will be true. Carlos Marcos is on vacation, sailing with his little boat through Galician lands and seas. But on the day of the eclipse, he sent me this. He says, in Babylon, they used to sacrifice the rulers when there was an eclipse. I leave it at that. You leave it at that. Don't keep going, or they'll shut down our channel again. Well, today we're wrapping up with Abraham Gomez, our guru from Tenerife, who is on fire. Listen.
What's going on? Did you hear about the eclipse? I mean, all of a sudden the moon, what's that about? Does it just get between the sun and Spain? To darken it? When we've already been happily in the dark ever since Pedri showed up to stay with us forever, with no future in sight. Spain already can't see anything. Actually, the less we see, the higher the electricity bill. That makes sense to me, since otherwise, who would support everything Pedri wants? Incredible. Now the moon, a fascist moon, because I'm sure it's a fascist moon, gets between the sun and Spain. That's Ayuso's doing. That's Ayuso and Abascal's doing. They move the moon. That's envy. Otherwise, it makes no sense. We have to keep going with the people already left in the dark, thanks to Pedri. We even have glasses now, so we can survive in Spain. Some inclusive LGTBI glasses. I can't think of another way, and that's what Pedri has brought us. The man even gave us a blackout some time ago, so there would be less. Why is the moon here now? It's disrespectful. You know the problems Pedri has. This morning, he himself was at La Mareta, saying, what do? Do I dive headfirst into the sea, or do I go down the little stairs? You think that with that problem, tears start coming out of my right lobe. With that problem, we could be thinking about a new eclipse right now. He must defend his friend Zapateri, who is struggling because he doesn't know what to say. A man who has an illness. He likes jewelry, just like all of us. What happens is that he likes them even more. And I'm thinking that we should use tax money to get him a little something, a little chain, you know? A life sentence or something so the man can breathe. The thing is, I'm really impressed. So, Pedri, keep going. I'm at home just pacing around, just waiting to see when you release a playlist. Because if you publish the books you read, it's just that since we live in backward Spain, we can't read them. That's true. Burn the books, Pedri. I reject myself. I'm a waste of a log. Logs. Burn them. People don't... But a playlist? Yes. We don't know what to listen to until you release it, you know? Keep going. You've had a sustainable delinquency thanks to your perseverance. Because you are, I tell you, maybe not anything else, but you are persistent. That's very clear, you know? And you mess with us for no reason. So we keep moving forward and let Spain know that the only rock that can get between the sun and our territory is the one we already have, at La Moncloa, and we are very proud of it. Take care.
A hack. Not even Abraham messes with us like that, or says it like that. Well, I liked it, I admit it, I liked it. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because we still have almost 15 days of August left, in which they can commit 1,001 misdeeds again. We'll be here to tell you all about it. Thank you for being there with us, even on vacation. See you tomorrow.
Y para gente despierta, desde la trinchera, las balas silban y no hay manera de salir allá afuera. Aquí la libertad tiene las alas de cera. Albert Castillo, Susana Gash, Tucci Castillo y demás, muchas gracias. Con esto y un bizcocho, hasta mañana a las 8.
Castillón Confidencial by Albert Castillón.